Good afternoon, everyone. It is Sunday, December the 20th, 2020. It is currently 3:26 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from Victory Baptist Church, located here in Ovalo, Texas. I apologize for that. I was moving the microphone. Once again, I hit the big red go live button and realized that the microphone was halfway across the room. Okay. That's a little bit of hyperbole, a little bit of exaggeration. It wasn't halfway across the room. It was halfway across the table. So I moved it closer. Welcome, everyone. It's Sunday afternoon. Yes, I'm back here at Victory Baptist Church for a couple of hours of live broadcasting. It is absolutely beautiful outside right now. It's about 64, 65 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. I got to the church about 20 minutes ago, and I just had the door open, and I was just standing there, standing outside, going, "Wow, it's a nice day." Now, my daughter sent me a photograph from Boston a little while ago, and it looks like the winter apocalypse. Okay, it's just snow everywhere. And I'm like, no, it's 65 and sunny here. See, this is the right place to live. You've chosen the wrong place, okay, because it's snow everywhere. Now, the picture did look beautiful. I guess from inside, looking at the snow from outside, that's nice. But if you have to go out in it, then it's no fun. But yes, it's a beautiful day here in West Texas. And I'm here this Sunday afternoon. There's a lot of things we need to do, a lot of things we need to talk about, but we need to return to a subject that I don't necessarily want to talk about, but I feel it's necessary because I think there's a valuable lesson to be learned in all of this, okay? Let's remind ourselves of something. Obviously, in 2020, we had an election. Everybody remember that? We had an election. Yes, it's been a big story for a very long time. And after that election, it did not take very long, lots of claims that the election had been stolen, that there was widespread voter fraud, and that Donald Trump actually won the election, but it had been stolen. He was robbed, that an injustice had occurred, and that this team of lawyers, this dream team of lawyers were going to go out and they were going to prove that there was widespread voter fraud because the proof was overwhelming. The proof was undeniable. There was no way to get around it. They were going to prove it, and Donald Trump was going to win the election, and he was going to serve another 4 years. And look, that all of the mainstream media keeps claiming that Trump lost, but they're liars. It's fake news because Donald Trump and his crack team of lawyers had the proof, and they were going to start filing lawsuits, and they were going to prove it. And they started filing those lawsuits, and they would lose, and they would lose, and they would lose, and they would lose. I don't know the total number now. It's in the 50s. Maybe close to 60s, all the way up to the Supreme Court. They kept losing. And people kept asking, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Now, they kept claiming they have the proof. You just have to look at it and, look at this statistic and look at this. See, that proves it. That proves it. But obviously the courts were not buying what the Trump team of lawyers was selling. And so we're moving, closer and closer to Biden being sworn in, and, well, then hopefully we'll get past all of this. But for some, they are still convinced that the election was stolen. They still believe that there is overwhelming proof. They have their YouTube videos. They have their podcasts to tell you about all of it. Christian radio continues to say the election was stolen, the election was stolen, the election was stolen. And in many cases, many of the podcasts, Christian radio, many of them would play clips from Fox News as their source for the information supposedly proving or demonstrating that there was widespread voter fraud. Many of them would cite Fox News because many of the people on Fox News kept promoting this idea, hey, widespread voter fraud, widespread voter fraud. These computer systems, they were hacked, and they were designed to ultimately rob Donald Trump of being elected president. And they kept selling this idea. They kept promoting this idea. Well, yesterday a news story started going around. I got it. It was sent to me a number of times this morning from a number of different people. I posted it in the chat for all of my church members to see. Well, it seems that there were some legal threats sent to Fox News about many of their claims. And it appears that Fox News had to air, they had to air a segment basically debunking many of the claims that they had made on the very network. So you have Fox News airing a segment that's debunking the claims made by Fox News on its network, believed by many of its viewers. You talk about kind of a weird situation. So we're going to work our way through this. Now, let me make it very clear. I always have to say this. This is not about Trump. This is not about Republican versus Democrat. This is about truth. And let me make this very clear. I don't care what the world thinks about the election. I don't care if they think there was widespread voter fraud. I don't care what they think. For those of us who call ourselves Christians, we have we have scripture to tell us how to act. One of the things we cannot do is bear false witness. One of the things we're not supposed to do is slander and gossip and share lies and share misinformation, because God hates lying lips. So I kept telling everyone, you need to make sure you have truth. Don't be putting out there fraudulent claims. Have truth. Have truth. And one of the things I kept telling Christians to do, just wait and see what happens. Look, all of these people are making these claims that there's voter fraud. Anyone can claim anything. What we have to see is what happens when it gets to court. When it gets to court, what happens? Well, many of the people who kept claiming there was voter fraud and Trump would lose in court, then they just said that the courts, the judges, they're all part of the conspiracy theory as well. So ultimately, for some people, it doesn't matter what comes out. They're convinced that voter fraud occurred, whether they can prove it or not. And they'll tell you they can, but then they'll send you a clip that aired on Fox News and say, see, that proves it. Well, Fox News just aired a segment debunking many of the very claims they made. It is really pretty fascinating to see. Now, again, I don't really care what Fox News does. Don't care. What bothers me is that Christian radio took many of the claims Fox News was making and many of the clips and many of the segments that aired on Fox News and played them on Christian radio. Where is the discernment amongst Christians to go, wait a minute, these are major claims. Let's wait. Let's just say claims are being made. At this point, we do not know. We'll continue to follow this story. We're going to try to find the truth, and we're going to tell you to be very careful. Don't make any claims because we haven't seen all of the evidence and we need to wait and see. But no. Christians would not operate that way. Why? Because they were blinded by their political loyalty. When you're blinded by political loyalty and blinded by political ideology, and you have abandoned your allegiance and your dedication to truth and to the scriptural way of thinking, then that ends up causing all kinds of problems. And it makes the church look foolish and it makes Christians look foolish. But here are the stories that are going around. You probably have seen them. They're all over the place. Here's just one. Fox News is debunking election fraud claims made by its own anchors in response to a legal threat. Now, this was published at 1:26 p.m. today. So just a few hours ago, this was published. Let me read it again for you. Fox News is debunking election fraud claims made by its own anchors in response to a legal threat. Now, wait a minute. Why would you debunk it based off a legal threat? If you're telling the truth and you've got the proof, then you just tell them who's making the legal threat, let's go to court. We've got the proof, and this election was stolen. This was widespread voter fraud. We're not going to back down to any legal threat. Or if you don't really have anything, then maybe you decide to air a segment where you debunk it. Here's the story. For weeks, Fox News hosts have peddled allegations of widespread voter fraud occurring in the 2020 election. A baseless claim that was first made by President Donald Trump. Now, you may not believe it's a baseless claim. Again, you don't have to believe. You can believe that there's something there, but believing it is not the same as proving it, right? And you can't just say, oh, here's a conspiracy website that tells me that there was widespread voter fraud. You've got to go, well, where did they get their information? Wait, has anybody looked at this? And if you got to start researching, and then sometimes you find out that the claims are baseless, all right, over and over and over, all right? Here we go. So for weeks, Fox News hosts have peddled allegations of widespread voter fraud occurring in the 2020 election, a baseless claim that was first made by President Donald Trump. Election software company Smartmatic sent Fox News. I'm sorry. I'm getting these notifications of all of my podcasts this morning are now available on the Edify podcast app. I'm like, wait, I did all of those hours ago. Sometimes they're very slow, but at least they're available now. All right, so let's continue. Election software company Smartmatic sent Fox News a legal threat demanding a full retraction of these falsities and inaccuracies. So the election software company Smartmatic, now you've heard about Smartmatic. Smartmatic, this software used in these voting machines that they were designed to steal the election, and I've heard it over and over and over. InfoWars have been talking about it nonstop. Christian Radio has been talking about it nonstop. Fox News have been talking about it. It just seems like it just over and over and over saying the same thing. All right, Smartmatic, Dominion voting machines. They're conspired and they stole the election. All right, so now guess what? The company, they sent a legal threat demanding a full retraction of these falsities and inaccuracies. In response, Fox News created and aired a segment dedicated to debunking various inaccuracies and falsities related to the results of the 2020 election. Now, wait a minute. Why would they respond in such a way? Because I thought this was just overwhelming proof. I mean, why would you have to retract anything? You should have just doubled down. I'm like, absolutely not. We've got the proof. Coming up at 11, watch the film. We've got the proof. But clearly that they didn't do that. Over the weekend, Fox News aired a segment that debunked some of the election fraud claims made by its own host and anchors. Now that, like if I worked for Fox News, I would be embarrassed. But guess what? Who cares what Fox News does? If I was Christian Radio Network, who aired these baseless claims, acted like these claims were legitimate, and kept telling everyone that Donald Trump won the election, you should be embarrassed, and Christian Radio should be repenting for spreading lies and false information and giving a full dedicated retraction. I'll be interested to see how Christian Radio responds to this on Monday. The network put together a news package that ran across various Fox News and Fox Business Network shows, starting with Lou Dobbs' show on Friday night. Fox created the segment in response to a legal threat from election software company Smartmatic. On December the 10th, Smartmatic hit Fox with a 20-page demand letter obtained by Business Insider asking for a full and complete retraction of all false and defamatory statements and reports about the 2020 election. Fox News engaged in a concerted disinformation campaign against Smartmatic by continually and repeatedly published demonstrably false information and defamatory statements, said the letter, which was addressed to Fox News executive president and general counsel. All right, would you hear that again? Fox News engaged in a concerted disinformation campaign against Smartmatic by continually and repeatedly published demonstrably false information and defamatory statements. Now, I want you to hear that. That's what they accused Fox News of. Fox News obviously didn't fight back because they published they aired a segment that really debunked many of the claims that they were making. Now listen, but here's what I want you to hear. Fox News, now forget Fox News, Christians, pastors, Christian radio networks, Christians on social media engaged in a concerted disinformation campaign against Smartmatic by continually and repeatedly published demonstrably false information and defamatory statements. See, when you add the word Christians engaged in that activity, that's when it bothers me. They bore false witness. They slandered people. They spoke evil against someone. Listen to the last episode I did on the 10 Commandments of James chapter 4, because that's out of that little section in James 4 where there's 10 imperatives. The last imperative there is don't speak evil against other people. Don't do so. Well, that's what Christians did. After the election was called for Joe Biden, Dobbs and other Fox hosts have staunchly defended President Donald Trump unsubstantiated claims of widespread voter fraud. Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who is one of the people spearheading dozens of lawsuits alleging fraud, appeared on Fox News to cast doubt on the election results. Sidney Powell, well, you know Sidney Powell. Yeah, let's not even get back into that whole story. Her clips have been aired on Christian radio, I don't even know how many times. Another attorney Trump hired to challenge the election also appeared on the network. In its letter to the network, Smartmatic said Fox should not have offered either of them a platform to spread baseless claims to millions of people nationwide. Fox News used its anchors and on-air guests, including Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, to spread lies about a company that had absolutely nothing to do with the voting that took place in areas at the heart of the conspiracies discussed following the 2020 U.S. election, the letter said. In other words, here's where the conspiracy was. Here's where it happened, and Smartmatic's like, we had nothing to do with any of that in those areas. We're not there. So you demonstrably lied. You just gave false information, and they should not have allowed that to occur. Again, this calls into question all media, all news media. It just creates doubt. Fox News only adds to look. Here's the thing, what drives me crazy is when conservatives look at liberal media and go fake news, but they never look at the very news in front of them. What makes your news true? All news media who engages in a campaign to spread disinformation should be soundly rebuked, soundly rejected, and people should be fired, and they should fix the problem. But when Christians and Christian media and Christian podcasters and pastors spread that same false information on their platforms, on their areas of influence, it's even worse because we have a biblical standard in which to live according to. Now, I understand. We all fall short of that biblical standard. We all do. Now, that's no excuse for doing it, so I understand that. And obviously, we are forgiven because of what Jesus Christ did. I understand that. But we've got to stop falling for this kind of false information and then acting like it's true when clearly there was plenty of reasons to be very skeptical of all of the claims, all right? Because they kept claiming all of this, and then when they went to court, they kept losing. Fox News, our Fox segment, in response to the letter, debunked election fraud claims from both Giuliani and Powell, as well as other Trump supporters. In the segment's original airing Friday night on his primetime evening show, Dobbs introduced the package by telling viewers that there are lots of opinions about the integrity of the election. He then brought on Edward Perez, who works with the Open Source Election Technology Institute, a nonprofit dedicated to evaluating election technology. All right. Now, I've got what I have is a video where the first part of the video is the segment aired on Fox News on Friday night. So you're going to hear that. And then after that, there's someone offering some commentary about it. So we're going to listen to what Lou Dobbs aired on his program. And then we'll listen to the commentary that's provided at the end of this video, and we'll look at it. Again, I want you to know this for this reason. First, as an individual, if you are out there sharing false information, please go retract it. Please tell your friends that, hey, you know what? I think I bought into some of this and I was wrong. I was wrong, admit it, and then don't fall for it again. All right. And then number two, if you hear Christian radio or any Christian podcaster sharing said fraudulent information, don't attack them or their family or call them names or make death threats. Just in a logical, rational, adult manner, say, hey, I think your information isn't correct. All right. So I just think this is fascinating that this is happening. You had to see it coming. You had to see that those claims were not holding up in court. And if they had all of the evidence that they claim to have, then they would have proven it. Now, that doesn't mean, listen, I cannot dogmatically say there was no voter fraud because I wasn't everywhere and have all information in front of me. If information is put forth that can prove, I've stated this over and over and over. If you have the evidence to prove there's voter fraud, I don't know why you email it to me. I keep having people emailing me going, see, there was voter fraud. Why are you telling me? Take it to court. File a lawsuit. Get it to Trump's attorneys. right? Contact President Trump and say, you've proved, don't go on Twitter saying there was voter fraud. What are you accomplishing? Get it to the people who need it, right? So I'll get an email. There was absolute voter fraud. Look at this. Well, why are you arguing with me? I have no power. Okay. Well, don't prove it to me. Prove it to the people that matter. If you've got supposed the evidence, then you go prove it. Because my thought, and let me make it very clear, if there's widespread voter fraud and Trump was robbed, I want that to be exposed. I want it to come out, and I want the rightful winner to be declared and be sworn in. And if it's Trump, serve another 4 years. Whether I agree with his policies or disagree with his policies, I don't care. I just want the right person who was elected by the people to be the president, because that's the way our system works. The people decide, right? From a human perspective, the people decide, they vote, and whoever wins the electoral college, they win. And I just want to matter. I don't care. Left, right, just the right person, because ultimately I believe God puts the one in charge, but that's a whole different subject. So I don't have, quote unquote, a dog in the fight. I don't have a horse in the race, right? I don't care. I want truth. That's all I want. I just want Christians to share truth. I'm sick and tired of Christians trafficking and half-baked conspiracy theories and lies and misinformation, so they become guilty of bearing false witness and of sharing lies. That's what you have to stop. And whenever I say that, then I get accused of I'm a liberal. Or, no, I just want truth. When does taking a stand for truth make you anything other than trying to follow the biblical morality that is laid down in Scripture? So we're going to listen to this. The audio quality is not great. I apologize for that. I apologize. I'm not going to try to interrupt this too much, but I will offer some analysis and we'll go through this. All right. So here we go. This aired on Fox News. I think the first airing was Friday. Then it aired on a number of different, on Fox News, Fox Business, at a number of different times, because again, a legal threat was handed down to them and they don't want to be sued. So they're like, okay, we'll back down. Well, if you had the facts in the first place, you wouldn't have to be debunking your own claims, but you didn't have the facts. You should have been challenging all of those claims. I got no problem airing the claims. Hey, here's this attorney for Trump. Yes, come on in. Okay, let them make their claims, but then challenge those claims. Do your own independent investigation and then air the results of that investigation. Going to Trump people came on here at 7 p.m. It's now 11 p.m. We've spent extensive hours researching all of their claims. We cannot find anything that backs their claims up. We've asked them for comment, but they refuse to come back on, or let them come back on and then go back and forth. But do the actual work of news, investigative reporting, not simply allowing your network to be used for propaganda. And that is true for Fox, CNN, MSNBC, NPR, and every other news agency. Do news, right? Don't simply try to prove your side. The only side you should care about is truth. But I don't expect the world to do that. But Christians should be able to turn into Christian media and get truth. That is what is frightening and staggering, that seems to be impossible to happen. When I was asked by Sermon Audio to create basically this idea of giving Christian commentary about current events, became the News in Focus program. I came up with the title News in Focus, I think. My daughters came up with the picture that we used for the News in Focus area on Sermon Audio. When I started that, first, I didn't realize how many people would start listening, because it was pretty insane. The number, 30,000 people a month. It was pretty crazy. But what was so frightening is then other pastors were allowed to participate. And then sometimes I felt like that what I was doing on the News in Focus program was then trying to correct what other pastors were putting forth, which was wild, crazy conspiracy theories and crazy ideas. So I'm like, even on Sermon Audio, where you create a section where pastors can create commentary on the news, they spend more time spreading false information than they do truth. And I was just like, what is, and I got extremely discouraged by that. And it was, what did I do? What was the point? Like, other pastors should be working together to get truth, not fighting for a side other than the side of truth. Whether that truth makes Christianity look good or it makes Christians look bad, whatever the truth may be. So, all right. But here it is. Here's the segment that aired on Fox News. Here we go. Here we go. Again, the audio quality is horrible, but this is the only video I could find at this point. So this is the one we're using. Here we go. It's going to jump right in with Lou Dobbs going, there's many theories about what happened in the election. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's lots of theories, I agree, but there's what we should find is truth, not theories. But here we go.
There are lots of opinions about the integrity of the election, the irregularities of mail-in voting, of election voting machines and voting software. One of the companies is Smartmatic, and we reached out to one of the leading authorities on open source software for elections, Eddie Perez, for his insight and views. Eddie is the Global Director of Tech Development at the Open Source Election Technology Institute. We asked him for his assessment of Smartmatic and recent claims about the company.
Have you seen any evidence that Smartmatic software was used to flip votes anywhere in the U.S. in this election?
I have not seen any evidence that Smartmatic software was used to delete, change, alter anything related to vote tabulation.
Smartmatic.
Now stop right there. Had not seen any evidence. Now this is supposedly an expert. Has not seen any evidence. None. Now, I've been told over and over, there's just overwhelming evidence. It's everywhere. This is so easy to prove. Okay, well, where is it? Okay, where is it? It's just funny. Fox News is now airing someone saying, no, I haven't seen any evidence. Well, wait a minute. I thought there was, and they're doing so because of a legal threat. So let's back this up just a little bit. All right, here we go.
Smartmatic software was used to flip votes anywhere in the U.S. in this election?
I have not seen any evidence that Smartmatic software was used to delete, change, alter anything related to vote tabulation.
Smartmatic says its software was never used outside of L.A. County in 2020. Do you know whether or not that's true?
That is my understanding. Smartmatic functioned as the contract manufacturer for the Los Angeles County voting system, and that was a customized system that was effectively built to the county's order. I am not aware of them having any other direct customers, relationships with election officials in the United States.
What about Smartmatic and Dominion? Do you know if they're related, whether one owns the other, whether Dominion uses Smartmatic software?
Both Dominion and Smartmatic have individually and respectively put out very clear statements from their corporate headquarters, each of them indicating they are independent companies. They are not related to each other. It is my understanding that neither one of them has an ownership stake in the other or anything like that. They are, again, for all intents and purposes, two completely separate companies.
Have you seen any evidence of a connection between George Soros and Smartmatic?
I'm not aware of any direct connection between George Soros and Smartmatic. It is my understanding that an executive at Smartmatic has some sort of relationship with one of Soros's foundations. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Have you seen any evidence of Smartmatic sending U.S. votes to be tabulated in foreign countries?
No, I'm not aware of any evidence that Smartmatic is sending U.S. votes to be tabulated in foreign countries. Again, I'm not aware outside of Los Angeles County of Smartmatic tabulating any votes in the United States because I'm not aware of them having any customer relationships in the U.S. And secondly, as others have pointed out, irrespective of which voting technology vendor we're talking about, in the United States, the ballots that are cast in the United States are tabulated in the United States.
Are you aware of any instances in which Smartmatic's technology was banned in the U.S. in 2020 due to security weaknesses or wrongdoing?
I am not. I'm not aware of any instances where Smartmatic's technology was banned in the U.S. Again, it is my understanding that outside of one customer in Los Angeles County, Smartmatic has no presence in the voting technology marketplace in the United States.
Nothing quite like having to air an entire segment rebutting your own arguments from your own show to your own audience. And yet that's exactly what happened here as Lou Dobbs suddenly changed his tune from the last several weeks, where he's likely been the most outspoken person on the entire network when it comes to perpetuating bogus election fraud claims, like the conspiracy theory that the company Smartmatic was responsible for widespread fraud that led to Donald Trump's loss in the election. And if it sounds ridiculous, trust me, it was.
Sydney, good to have you with us. Dominion voting system seems to be figuring larger and larger in the interest of your legal team. And what is the latest?
Oh, definitely, Lou. I've just gotten some stunning evidence from a first-hand witness, a high-ranking military officer who was present when Smartmatic was designed in a way that and I'm going to just read you some of these statements, if you don't mind, so I get them exactly right from the affidavit. Designed in a way that the system could change the vote of each voter without being detected. He wanted the software itself to function in such a manner that if the voter were to place their thumbprint or fingerprint on a scanner, then the thumbprint would be tied to a record of the voter's name and identity as having voted, but that voter would not be tracked to the changed vote. He made it clear that the system would have to be set up but not leave any evidence of the changed vote for a specific voter, and that there would be no evidence to show and nothing to contradict that the name or the fingerprint or thumbprint was going with a changed vote. Smartmatic agreed to create such a system and produce the software and hardware that accomplished the result for President Chavez.
Yes, and Smartmatic, the chairman is Admiral Pete Neffinger, who is also transition team. That's an extraordinary situation as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So here's the other kicker. When the Smartmatic machines when somebody's losing, like, for example, when Maduro and his supporters realized the size of the other guy's lead, they were worried that they were in crisis mode and would lose the election. The Smartmatic machines used for voting in each state were connected to the Internet, reported their information over the Internet to the Caracas Control Center real time, so the decision was made to reset the entire system.
And that was just one of the countless times that Sidney Powell was on Lou Dobbs' show, spewing these baseless claims about Smartmatic and Dominion voting systems and the CIA and the DOJ and Republican governors and secretaries of state and Cuba, China, Venezuela, and even Hugo Chavez all being in cahoots to deprive Trump of a second term, which all sounds very real and not at all like a conspiratorial rabbit hole. But the reason that Lou Dobbs had this fact check rebutting his own segment play on his show is simple. They were threatened with a legal notice from Smartmatic. The CEO of the company released a statement about Fox News along with OAN and Newsmax saying, quote, they have no evidence to support their attacks on Smartmatic because there is no evidence. This campaign was designed to defame Smartmatic and undermine legitimately conducted elections. The legal notice continued, quote, Fox News embarked on a disinformation campaign against Smartmatic shortly after the election closed and continuing today. Over the course of the campaign, Fox News published and republished dozens of false and misleading statements regarding Smartmatic. The legal notice said it believed Fox News has, quote, no evidence or credible source to support the false statements made on air, and said the network, quote, would have easily discovered the falsity of the statements and implications being made about Smartmatic by performing even a modicum of investigation. And finally, quote, Smartmatic demands a full and complete retraction of all false and defamatory statements and reports published by Fox News. This retraction must be done with the same intensity and level of coverage that you used to defame the company in the first place. And so that's why this happened. It's because Fox and Lou Dobbs knew that they had no ground to stand on. And so instead of setting themselves up for failure by fighting back, they acquiesced to Smartmatic's demands. In other words, they knew they got caught lying. If you ever needed more proof that their so-called reporting is complete fiction, this is it. The simple fact is this: Donald Trump lost the election. Not because of fraud, not because of rigged voting machines, not because of dead people casting ballots, and no, not because of Hugo Chavez. He lost because his presidency was a failure. So people like Lou Dobbs can continue pretending that they're the victims of some anti-democratic ruse, but this was democracy actually working that led to a resounding victory for Biden at the ballot box.
And there you have it. There you have it. Again, the bottom line is I don't care about Fox News. I don't care about Newsmax. I don't care about any of that. I care about about Christians and the church. And the church should never have gotten caught up into this. There are pastors making public statements. The election was rigged. The election was a fraud. And then usually they will post something from Fox News, Sidney Powell, and all of these other just crazy theories. And then their people buy into it and believe it. And that's Christians. We cannot operate that way. We can't. Now, I'm not using this as an opportunity to attack Fox News, because I think media at large at times is very guilty of this. They allow their own ideological blindness, their own ideological, assumptions to get in the way of them trying to see the truth. Okay, the news media may do that. The church cannot. The church cannot. The church has to be one place. Truth, 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 truth. That's got to be our battle cry. We speak the truth. We defend the truth. We expose lies. Oh, we want the truth. We don't care about sides. We just want to be on the side of truth. And if that truth is you don't like it, well, it doesn't matter. That's the way it's supposed to work. And if that stops being true of Christianity, well, then Christianity ceases to be of any use, because if you can't trust a Christian to get the facts right about voting software and about an election, then why should I trust any Christian to talk to me about eternal matters? If all Christians can do is spread false information and conspiracy theories, why believe anything we say? Now, the media's got all media, CNN, MSNBC, all of them. They need to all look in the mirror and see what they can do to start trying to be, trustworthy sources of information. But here's what you have to do. When you get information from one source, you got to go check other sources. You got to do research. And you got to start thinking, okay, no, what is it? Okay, the media is all saying different things. I know where we can look. When the Trump attorneys go to the court, we'll find out. Well, they kept getting thrown out. So then do I have to develop an entire theory that every courthouse, every judge, they're all a part of the conspiracy? Well, now I just start entering into the realm of foolishness, and Christians should not do that. Now, was there voter fraud? Let me say it again. As at this point, I have no proof. So I can't say there wasn't. I definitely can't say there was. If there was, and people have proof, let me state it again. Don't send it to me. You need to be going on national media, because you supposedly have, like when these people email me like, there's voter fraud and I know it. Well, then go prove it. Get off Twitter, stop emailing me and go prove it. Get on Fox News, get on MSNBC, go to court, sign a sworn affidavit that you have the information, you have the proof. Go put yourself in front of a judge and go prove it. And if all you've got is your crazy theory that you cooked up while you were in the kitchen heating up a TV dinner, well, then I'm sorry. Then just leave your crazy theory that you cooked up in your kitchen while you're heating up a microwave meal. Just leave it there. Just leave it in the kitchen, because that's about how much value it has. It has none. All right. So there we have it. So now we'll see if Christian radio. I cannot wait till Monday. I'm going to listen to American Family Radio and see if I hear retraction after retraction after retraction after retraction after retraction. But I guarantee you, they're going to double down. You know what they're going to say? They're going to say Fox News caved. Fox News are sellouts. Fox News have no courage. They're cowards. And we need to listen to Newsmax. Now, we'll see if Newsmax has to do the same thing, or ONN, or whatever the other one is. We'll see. But I bet you Fox News is just going to get attacked. That's all they're going to do. They're going to get attacked. So, but the question is, why attack Fox News? If they had the proof, they wouldn't have caved. They wouldn't have caved. They would have fought. They would have been even a bigger news story. So we'll see, though. If information comes forth showing that the election was stolen, I got no problem saying the election was stolen. But as of right now, we're getting retractions from the people who kept claiming they had all the proof. That is telling. All right. Email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. All right, everyone have a great day. I'll be back on the air shortly. God bless.